Last time on the Skip and Josh podcast.
This is an international show. It's not just Canadian now. You're in the States. Are you even allowed to record while you're out of Canada? Is that like, do we have to pay tariffs or something now?
Are you trying to get into current events or?
No, I'm just like, I wonder, we might be breaking some sort of federal law or something. I don't know.
Well, just in the last 2 days, the United States and Canada started some kind of trade war. So I don't think podcasts were affected though.
And if anyone asks, we'll just say you were in Montreal. How are they going to know?
Well, because I just said I'm in Chicago, but...
You're listening to the Skip and Josh podcast with Skip Sherman and Josh Obadia.
Hello?
Hey, Skippy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. My shoulder hurts. How are you?
Your shoulder hurts from playing too much tennis.
It must be from that, because I haven't done anything else.
That's good. It's good that you're out and about. The weather's so great. You're taking advantage. You're doing some physical outdoor sport. It's great.
Yeah, the weather here has been good. I don't know about where you are, but it's been good here.
It's fine. We feel like we're in summer here in Montreal, So usually Toronto, you're a little bit warmer, I guess.
Oh, meanwhile, I just realized this was like the best weekend of the year, the Grand Prix weekend.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I'm here in suburbia, so the goings-on of the Grand Prix doesn't affect me very much, but I know it was like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous if you were downtown, based on what I've seen on social media, right?
Well, the Grand Prix is a sport, and this is a sports show, so do we need to talk about it?
I have no idea who won. I have no idea who was in it.
Neither do I. I guess we're done talking about it.
That was the Grand Prix segment.
Yeah. That was the preview and the recap.
We're so efficient. It's amazing.
Yeah.
The preview and the recap together.
Awesome.
Amazing. So, I mean, I was in Chicago. I just got home a few days ago.
Yeah, you've been MIA.
I was so happy we were able to do our last episode, kind of with me on the road. It's so good. A lot has happened since we last spoke in the world of sports, and especially with what, we've been focusing on the last 3 to 4 episodes, is that there's 2 new champions, one in the NBA and one in the NHL.
Well, hold on. In the NBA, it's not a new champion.
No, you're right. It's not a new champion, but there is a champion. Yeah, the season has come to an end. Yes, right. Correct. Yeah.
In the NBA, the finals were like a non-story.
Okay, so let's start with the NBA. Since you're going, I didn't know which one you wanted to start with, but let's go there first, right?
The National Basketball Association.
So here's what I'm going to say. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not going to get into any X's and O's.
No X's and O's.
But
there's none to get into.
When it comes to the 4 major team sports in North America, and you could even throw the CFL into there and make it 5.
Oh boy!
Even if my team isn't in the finals, I watch the finals: hockey, basketball, football, baseball. I watch.
Sure.
And I'll definitely watch the last game because, well, it could be the last game, and I like to see the reaction, especially of the losing team. I like to see the reaction. So I watch.
The NBA was a letdown for you because the reaction of the winning team and the losing team was sort of like ho-hum.
Well,
right?
let me back up a little bit because I was watching Game 4 and the fourth quarter had just started and it wasn't even close and it was on a Friday and I'm always tired on Friday nights and I'm like, I'm not even staying up to see the end of this. I turned it off like just as the fourth quarter started and I went to bed.
It dawned on me about the NBA season. I've been thinking about this for like 3-4 days now. It's amazing that the NBA actually had a pretty dramatic playoffs. I was captivated by it. I wanted to watch many of the series. I got sucked into the NBA playoffs, the drama of it. But really, rewind to preseason of this year or the beginning of the season. Every single person and their grandmother knew it was going to be Cleveland and Golden State in the finals.
Yes.
That was like everybody knew exactly what was going to happen. Everybody knew who the champion was going to be. That's exactly who the champion was. And somehow I still got sucked into the playoffs. It's like when you know the ending to a movie, but you still want to watch the movie.
Well, the first round and the third round were
Yes.
actually interesting.
Yes.
But the second
when you
round
think-
and the fourth round were not.
But when you think about the second round and the first round and the third round were interesting, but then in the end you realize they didn't really matter because the Warriors were going to win. I guess we always knew that, but just didn't pay attention to it,
By the way, I'll say this right now. It's not going to be
Yeah.
Golden State and Cleveland next year.
Well, I mean, it all depends on LeBron. What if LeBron stays in Cleveland?
Doesn't matter. Because he's
You don't-
playing,
you
it's
don't-
like you said, he's playing with 10 guys from the Y.
Yeah, he is. But there's a couple of scenarios that could play out, right? So let's say he stays in Cleveland. He's not going to stay in Cleveland to keep playing with the same bums that he's been playing with. Obviously, he's going to go and tell the owners, I need new guys.
Okay, but who's a
Which
free
he's-
agent this year?
I know, but he's already told them that he's need new guys for 5 years,
Right.
and
But I mean,
has-
who can leave their current team? I mean, Carmelo's done, so don't tell me about Carmelo.
No, there is some huge well, Carmelo's useless, so forget
Right.
about that. But there's Paul George and Kawhi Leonard who are the big pieces. George is a free agent. Leonard is not a free agent, but it's he still has one more year, but seems like the relationship with him and the Spurs is kind of broken, so there's a lot of speculation that he could be moved. So those are the two big guys, and they're also two pretty good players. So I guess something could happen, but
What
I
about
don't
Chris Paul? Is he a free agent?
no, he's staying in Houston. So, I mean, there's all these odds that came out about where LeBron is going to go. Houston, the Lakers, Cleveland, Philadelphia. No one knows. Only LeBron will. I don't think he knows, and I don't think he knows right now. And we'll find out. I just hope that he doesn't have an ESPN special with where he's going, because that was just stupid,
I'm sure he's not going to do that again.
No, he's learned his lesson about that, for sure. There's something, though, about the NBA Finals that I was absolutely floored me. I was in shock about it. Because the NBA, of all the leagues, is the leakiest faucet there is, right?
Yes.
When there's trade rumors, you already hear about so-and-so is you always hear the rumors, and often they're true,
Mhm.
Even in this offseason, Kyrie's demanding a trade. You're what? There's always information that comes out in the NBA that you wonder where the reporters have sources, and somehow LeBron shows up at the press conference after Game 4 with a cast on his hand. And I was like, what? I have to really give congratulations to the Cleveland Cavaliers organization. He broke his hand after Game 1. Or I don't know if he broke his hand. Whatever he did to his hand. I'm saying it's a broken hand, but he had an injured hand. He injured his hand after Game 1, and nobody knew.
That is pretty
not
amazing.
not one report about his broken hand until it was over. And I mean, it was a Casey Candell situation, right? He said the injury was self-inflicted, meaning he punched a wall or something,
Was that Casey
So-
Candell or Brian Barnes?
Oh, you corrected me. You are absolutely right. It's not a Casey Candell situation. It's a Brian Barnes situation. I don't know. I got those. I can't believe I mean, they're both so short. I guess that's
One's
why
a
I got them
pitcher,
mixed
one's
up.
not.
Yeah. So just so people know exactly what we're talking about, to get let people in on our inside joke here. So Brian Barnes and Casey Candell were both Montreal Expo players in the 80s, I guess, or maybe early 90s. Actually, I'm not sure at this point. And yeah, Brian Barnes broke his hand because he smashed the wall in the dugout, right? After they took him out of a game. So, I mean, that's all I have to say about the NBA. I'm looking forward to the draft. I can't wait to see, what happens.
I mean, you have to agree, maybe you don't, that if Boston is healthy next year, they're going to the finals.
Yes, I agree.
So
Well, I mean, they were one game away already this year with
Right.
a bunch of scrubs.
yeah,
Never mind Gordon Hayward. If they just have Kyrie, they probably win the series.
yeah.
And now if they have Gordon Hayward and Kyrie, And
you're gonna
Tatum is
they're-
another
and they're
year-
getting some new guy in the draft.
yeah, and Tatum's a whole other year better also. So, I mean, yeah, the Celtics are definitely poised to take the next step. And I think, again, we don't know where LeBron's going. But,
Right.
it looks like Celtics Sixers for the foreseeable future in the East. If you
Yeah.
ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to, as we always like to do, we like to bring a Duke angle into things.
Well, don't talk about Rodney Hood.
No, I will not do that. So a few years ago, Duke won the national championship with a pretty loaded team, and a bunch of those guys went into the draft. Okafor was, what is he, the first overall pick or top 3? I don't even
Justice
remember.
Winslow.
Justice Winslow went top 10, and Tyus Jones was picked in the first round.
Yeah.
And the first person from that class to win the championship is Quinn Cook on the Golden State Warriors. He was undrafted. He went to the D League. Now it's called the G League. And I'm pretty sure he was like the MVP of the G League. And then, eventually the Warriors signed him to like a 10-day contract. And then eventually this year he got a legit NBA contract, a one-way where he's guaranteed his money. And now he's an NBA champion. So congratulations to him.
Yes, congrats.
Yeah. Now let's switch to hockey.
Okay.
The National Hockey League.
Wow. Do you want to start? I have a lot to say.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
So you said before the playoffs started that the playoffs, it's all about lucky bounces or unlucky bounces.
It's not all about, but of all the sports, hockey, like, there's a lot of luck involved.
Right,
a lot.
because an 8 seed can win the cup.
Yeah.
And 8 seeds have made it to the finals. I don't know if they've won the cup, but an 8 seed has made it to the finals.
But it's so hard to score in the playoffs that so many of the goals are just the random tips and weird bounces.
But it wasn't hard to score this year.
No,
there were tons of
year
goals in the playoffs this year.
You're right. There was a lot.
And so 20 years from now or 30 years from now, when you look back, you open up your almanac and you see that in 2018, the Capitals won the Stanley Cup Finals 4-1. You're going to think, especially they won the last 4 games in a row, someone's going to think, oh, they must have dominated. But you know what?
Right.
They didn't actually dominate, because let's take a look at, was it game 2 or 3, I think, where it was 0-0. This was the game that Washington ended up winning 6-2. It was over after the first period. It was 3-0 after the first period. I'm not sure if it was game 3. Anyway.
Right.
But at the time that it was 0-0, James Neal misses a wide open net.
Right.
He scores that goal. It's a completely different game. And I'm not saying that, Vegas should have won that game and then Vegas should have won the series. I'm not saying that. But I mean, that's just one example. Then, of course, that was game 3. Then if you look at game 2, was it Tooch who has the wide open net and Holtby makes this amazing save?
No, Holtby's save is the turning point of the series.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, and there's a few other examples of plays like that where, the game turns around if this thing happens, and if the game turns around, then maybe the series turns around. So yes, Washington won, and they're a very deserving winner. Congratulations to them. But it wasn't as lopsided as the score would make you think.
Unfortunately, that's the way sports goes. You always remember the champions, and often like how close or literally the margin of victory, which is almost nothing, is forgotten. But this year we will remember that it was the Vegas Golden Knights just because of their big story and all this, right? But so I told you, I'm listening to that podcast, 31 Thoughts. It's the Sportsnet.
Oh, you listened to
Sportsnet?
it? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I'm listening to it. They don't pump out episodes. It's like one a week usually. But so they had a special episode this week. It wasn't with Elliot Friedman. It was more of a documentary style, audio documentary. And it was all about the 25th anniversary of the Canadiens winning the Stanley Cup in 1993.
There was a special on Sportsnet, on television, which I recorded and I haven't watched yet.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. This is just the podcastified version.
Okay.
But there's such a parallel in that Holtby save. That is exactly when Jacques Demers measured Marty McSorley's stick. That's the turning point. The Golden Knights won game 1. The Kings had won game 1 in 93.
Okay.
And then in game 2, Canadians were on the ropes. They're about to go down 2-0. Then they call for that stick measurement. They pull the goalie, they tie it up, and then they win that game, and then they win the next 2. It's exactly what the Caps, not exactly, but it's similar to what the Caps did in that one Holtby save, just that was it. It was the Avalanche. It was the the avalanche that the Knights couldn't overcome. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that the momentum went one way and it never came back. Yeah,
Absolutely.
So I wrote down a bunch of stuff as I was watching the ending of the game 5.
By the way, that
Because-
I watched till the end.
No, I watched it to the end and beyond.
Yeah.
You know, I watched pretty yeah. And I wrote down some stuff because I really didn't want to forget like what I was thinking at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It got me thinking, watching Ovechkin get the cup and everybody skate around and just the joy on his face. And then I'm sure you saw the interview with TJ Oshie when he talked about his father.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bunch of things that happened in that celebration, right?
Yeah.
It reminded me of exactly why we do this podcast, why we do our show. It's like, why do we love sports? Like, people ask me, why do you love sports? And it's like, if you watch that celebration with Ovechkin, you know, it's like the joy, the drama, the raw emotions like that you see, you know, on the players from the outcome. Like, that's what it's about, right? That's what it's about. It's just so...
It's unscripted. You don't know what's going to happen.
It's unscripted. It sucks you in. You. It's the drama of the game, but then in the end, the celebration is like everything that was said about Ovechkin, everything that was said about... We said it. They're choking dogs and all this. It's like they overcame everything, and they just stuck out their big middle finger to the rest of the hockey world and said, yeah, we did it, you know, and raised that cup. And I mean, I don't know if you're not on social media as much as me, but like Ovechkin's basically like doing some kind of tour of the cup through Washington. It's insane. Like the pictures I've seen in pictures of him with the cup in bed, him in the cup. There's this scene at the Nationals Park where he's holding the cup out in the outfield and like in the stands, like miles away from the field, you could see him holding the cup up in the air, like as the game's going on. It's just wild stuff.
I'm still stunned that the Caps won the cup, by the way.
I know. Well, you said you thought that it was going to go the other way.
I did. And there was a few things that I was surprised about, actually. I don't know if you saw the pregame of the last game where Ovechkin tapped Fleury on the pad in the pregame warm-up.
I didn't see it as it happened, but I saw it on Twitter like as the game
Fleury
unfolded.
was pissed.
I didn't know, like when you see it on Twitter, I didn't know if they were just joking around or if it was serious. But then it was clear after watching it a few times, Fleury was pissed.
He was pissed because then 30 seconds later, Fleury hits Ovechkin on the shin with his stick, and he didn't just tap him lightly. It was a pretty hard hit.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Fleury was really pissed. And then after the game, after the handshakes, you see Vegas going back to their locker room. And just as Fleury goes off the ice, I think he punches
smashed
a
the
wall with his
He
blocker.
smashed the wall. He was mad.
I mean, I get that you're upset that you lost. Don't get me wrong, but I'm surprised that he was so pissed.
At that point, which was like 15 minutes, half an hour later after it was over.
Yeah.
You
it was like, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I guess he's intense. We don't know Fleury. He probably felt like he let his team down because he didn't play in the finals as well as he did, you know, during the rest of the playoffs. But, you know, and maybe he felt like it's his last chance. Who knows if Fleury's going to even be back next year, you know?
So it kills me that the Capitals' tying goal and winning goal were scored by Eller and Smith-Pelly, who both were on the Habs and both were lousy on the Habs.
Smith-Pelly doesn't I don't care about that, you know? He's bounced around. He's been on a million teams. You know, the Habs aren't the only team that have given up on Smith-Pelly. You know, he's bounced around. And he actually had very good playoffs. At the beginning of his career, he had one good playoff run in San Jose before the Habs got him. So it's like, you know, he can do this for a playoff run. So, good for him. But, Lars Eller, I mean, he's just, you know, the Habs gave up on him, and he proved that he's a very good NHL player. You know, he's a very good NHL player.
He's still a third line player at best.
He was a third line player on the Habs or on Washington. But the thing is, on Washington, he had that role and he kind of embraced it and he did so well, you know?
He had a good playoffs, but he didn't
Yeah.
have such a good regular season.
No, he didn't.
And I don't think he's going to have a good regular season next year.
No, but that's the way it goes. He'll always have that Stanley Cup ring.
Good for him, but I mean, it's just funny that Capitals fans think that these two guys are actually good.
Yeah, I mean, Smith Pelly might not even be on the team next year. Like, honestly.
He might not be.
Like, seriously, he might not. Eller will be, you know, but, you know. So, look, I'm happy for them. One thing that struck me is, you know, when they hand the cup, first of all, two things. You know, when they hand the cup, they give it to Ovechkin first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're always like, okay, who's he going to hand it to next?
Mm-hmm.
It's always like the most grizzled veteran, some guy who's deserving. They didn't have that guy. The guy who he handed to was Nicholas Backstrom, who's been there, you know, 2 years less than him, basically, you know?
Right.
I just thought it was weird, you know?
I thought maybe it should have gone to Holtby.
It should, maybe, but like, I mean, not that I care who he gives it to or whatever.
Right.
I just thought it was like, it's interesting because there's these winning teams tend to have like this one guy, you know, there's always like a Doug Waite or you know,
Ray
like
Bourque.
someone, well, that's the extreme answer, but yeah, like some grizzled veteran that's basically, you know, on their last chance to win the cup. The other thing that was great, and I know you love when the fans boo Bettman.
Every time I see his face, I want to smack him.
But when they started to boo him, I was like, why are they booing him? Of all the fan bases in the NHL, the only fan base that should not boo Gary Bettman is Vegas.
But you know, I don't know if you noticed, it wasn't as loud a boo as normal.
No,
So the
it
people
wasn't.
booing him were the Capitals fans because there were tons of Capitals fans at the game.
There
The
were,
Vegas fans
yes.
were not booing him. They don't know enough yet to boo him.
No, and they don't have no reason to boo him. He brought the team to Vegas. He gave them a franchise, their first sports franchise, right?
But I mean, every time you see his face and every time you hear him talk, you just want to take a baseball bat to his head.
I mean, I wish he would retire, but the problem is, like, when he retires, Bill Daly's going to become the commissioner, and that's
I'd
not
rather
any
Bill
better.
Daly any day of the week and twice on Sundays.
I guess the way he speaks seems a little bit more genuine, but I don't know. Bill Daly is just going to be a clone of Bettman.
I don't trust Bettman as far as I can throw him. He's a jerk.
Well, but Daly's the same thing. He's his little apprentice.
No, but Daly, at least when he gives an answer, it's an honest answer. Bettman,
Yeah.
you ask him a question, he either changes the subject or he skirts the issue or he just tells you some cockamamie thing that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, no, that is true. He often
if it wasn't for Bud Selig, Gary Bettman would be, you know, public enemy number one for me.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Bud is always number one in your heart, right?
Yes.
Yes. I like that. Yes. Well, I mean, I took a lot of notes this week, and I mean, I've said everything I have to say about the NBA and the NHL. Like, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
If I did, I forgot what it was. So we can move on to the next topic.
I don't have another topic. That's the whole thing.
I have one topic.
Okay, please.
The World Cup of Soccer. This is our World Cup of Soccer preview.
World Cup Soccer.
Oh, well, we had the World Cup. We had the soccer minutes last episode, which was more like 3 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you want to know? I'm here to answer all your questions. You can hit me with any question. I have nothing prepared, but I'll help you to understand the World Cup as best I can.
It's not so much a question. It's I'm running an office pool where I work for the World Cup of Soccer. I've never done one of these before.
Oh, I entered. That's what
Okay.
you sent me.
Sorry?
I entered that. You sent me the.
Well, that's what I was going to
thing.
ask. I challenged you, but you're not actually in the group because I didn't give you the group number. You can create a group, which I did, and I didn't invite you to the group because you don't work with me. But
Okay,
also you can challenge your friends, which is what I did with you, and I challenged someone else.
Okay.
So I made my picks. The only by the way, it wasn't easy to find a website where I could do a pool. But I ended up finding FIFA.com. My only complaint about that website is, unlike the March Madness pool, you can change your picks in the March Madness pool up until the first game starts.
Oh, now we're locked in.
Now you make your picks. If I made my picks a week ago, they're locked in.
So if Messi gets injured in practice and he breaks his ankle, and you picked Argentina, you're screwed.
I'm toast. Like, it's a flawed website.
Yeah.
Having said that, I made my picks not knowing very much about soccer.
Who did you pick to win it all?
Well, forget about that, but I think it seems like everyone's going to have the same Final Four. It really does.
Maybe.
Because I didn't really have a hard time getting to the Final Four.
Well, like I told you, there's really like 5 teams that could win.
5?
Like,
Who's
in
the
my
fifth?
mind? Well, there's Brazil.
Yeah, they're in my Final Four.
There's France.
Okay, they're not in my Final Four.
Germany.
They're in
Who are the others?
Spain and
Maybe
Portugal.
Spain and Portugal, and then Argentina's on the outside. You know, France. You should consider France.
Well,
They're
it's too late now.
one of the
I
best
can't
teams
change
in the
it.
world. Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, so I have Spain and Portugal meeting in the finals, and they're in the same group. So that's a tough group.
It's very hard to do. I didn't like the format of the thing you sent me because you're picking like 1 and 2 in each group, right? And then what happens is, depending if you finish first or second in your group, that decides who you play in the next round.
I see.
So like you're saying you have Spain and Portugal playing each other. That may not even happen.
Well, it could happen in the final, could it not?
It could. No, but you know what I mean? Like there's things that you have in like the knockout rounds, those matchups might not even occur.
Right.
You know, so I guess they're really trying to see how accurate you are at picking the whole thing, which really matters if teams finish first or second in their group.
That site, I have a few other complaints about that website. First of all, to sign up, like they make you pick some kind of username that isn't your real name, and every name
The sign up was ridiculous.
Then they send you an email with a verification code that you have to copy and paste. It was ridiculous. It's like $4.
I was almost about to email back to you saying the sign up is too complicated. I'm not doing it.
It was very complicated. It was. Yeah. I fully admit it. And then like it's funny because every time you go to a website and you create a username and password, it says that you have this whole rules and regulations and you have to click accept or else it doesn't let you. So you click accept. And then there's another one.
But I wonder if it's because like when you do a hockey pool or a baseball pool or whatever, it knows like maybe it's because this is like a worldwide thing and you could be coming from any country. There's like I don't know. Anyway, forget that. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It was annoying to it was annoying to register. Mm-hmm. And there was
I want to know who you picked to win.
I have Spain playing Portugal. I think I have Spain winning it all.
Okay. Very nice.
Who do you have?
I have Brazil.
Okay.
But I had England going to the final.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I picked with my heart.
But England should win their group easily.
No, Belgium is better.
Okay.
Actually, Belgium is one of the teams that could win the whole thing. They are up and down the most talented. Well, not the most talented, obviously Brazil and France, but up and down they are among the most talented teams in the whole tournament is Belgium. But they've somehow in the last World Cup and then in the Euro with the same group of players, they've just underperformed. So there's a lot of pressure on them to. This is like they're calling it like Belgium's like golden generation of players, like, and they really have a lot of stars. But I mean, I hope they suck. So the thing is, England and Belgium are playing each other in the third game of the group.
So that's going to decide who finishes first.
Yes, but like presumably they will both beat. Presumably, we shouldn't say anything because you never know what happens. But like, presumably they will both beat Tunisia and Panama. And then the third game is just going to be first or second. So at least the pressure of like making it to the next round is kind of off, you know? It's just a matter of placement.
This is almost as exciting as the World Baseball Classic.
Well, the World Cup is much more exciting than the World Baseball Classic. Let's not even get confused. Maybe not for you, but
Israel in the Baseball Classic, Israel went on a crazy run.
Yeah, and they had no Israeli citizens on their team.
I know.
So, yeah. You and I could have played for Team Israel.
2 men could.
Yeah. Well, you like that. We decided, actually, when I saw Mark from Philadelphia, I saw him a few weeks ago. I said, how do you like the new little sound bites in the podcast to like delineate the segments? And he said, I really love them. Like, he said, they're great. He goes, there's only one problem. There's one that you really don't need to do. I'm like, what's that? He's like, the one that says show close. He goes, I don't understand why you have that in, because all you do is just read the show close and then it's over. So yes, we are taking the feedback from the listeners, and we're going to alter things, and we're going to kind of make a little mini show close every time. That's going to be kind of like random things that are not making it into the greater discussion.
So are we still calling it show close, or are we calling it rapid fire, or are we calling it bringing it home?
I think we're still going to call it show close for now.
Okay.
Show close.
So what did you have? What do you have to talk about in the close?
Well, just that I finally saw Darren Berger, who finished second in the March Madness pool. Although, as you know, there was controversy. He thinks, and many people think, that he finished first. So I finally saw him. I gave him his second place prize. He accepted it reluctantly. I asked if I could take a picture for a website. He wouldn't let.
I don't blame him. You screwed him. No?
I guess.
I watched CFL preseason yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never ever done that in my life. Only because
Must have been a slow news day.
only because Johnny Manziel was playing. So I wanted to
Against
see
your
him
Montreal
firsthand.
Alouettes.
Yeah, my Montreal Alouettes. So just to say that I watched some CFL preseason, and I doubt that'll ever happen again.
So is your son going to the Ticats game when they're in town?
I'm not sure. They're gonna decide. He wanted to go to this game yesterday.
I have one other thing for this show close.
Yeah, sure, please.
We have, for the second time in 3 years, a Triple Crown winner.
Oh, you mean in horse racing?
Yeah, I know you love horse racing.
Only the Kentucky Derby. I didn't even follow what was going on in the other
I
races.
thought you liked them all.
But I guess Justify won, right?
He did.
Yeah. And I heard that Justify is going to decline a visit to the White House.
Didn't know horses were allowed there, but okay.
Yeah. I have something else for you before we really end the show.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, in the Sherman household, it's always it's always a topic of discussion this summer. What is gonna be the song of the summer?
Right, I'm still unclear if the song of the summer is a song that is anointed what it's going to be for this coming summer, or is it at the end of the summer you specify, or you say this
It's
was
neither.
the song of the summer that just ended?
It's neither. At the end of the summer, we say, yeah, this was the song of the summer. It's like, it's obvious what the song of the summer was. It's the song that had the most radio airplay, the song that everybody loved, the song that kind of you'll remember the summer for. But at this point in the year, usually around June 1st, we start to speculate what could become the song of the summer. So 2 contenders are emerging.
All right, let's hear it.
Now, you probably, because you don't listen to any top 40 radio.
Not really.
So you don't even know what these songs are.
Probably
so I'm
don't.
going to tell you what they are anyways. The first is a song called The Middle. It's by Zed, Maren Morris, and Gray.
I'll have to Google it.
Yeah. I in the car today going shopping, I heard it about 6 times.
Okay.
And then the other song that's actually just starting to get like radio airplay the last couple weeks is by Drake. And it's called Nice for What.
Okay.
So those are me and my daughter have kind of declared these are the 2 contenders.
Is Drake hosting the NBA awards again?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay.
So before we sign off, just remember, to never miss an episode of the Skip and Josh podcast, there's only one thing you can do, which is you got to subscribe. So you hit that subscribe button either on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, or mostly any kind of podcast app that you use. If you listen via Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. Send us an email, skipandjoshshow@gmail.com. Twitter, we are on Twitter all the time, @skipandjosh. And you can like and follow our Facebook page. And as always, you can get all the links to everything I just said at skipandjosh.com. Now, this is episode 99.
I know.
So we've got a big show planned for next time.
We're going to have to do it in person together.
Are we?
Well, I'm going to be in Montreal next weekend.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
So if we don't do it, that means we're waiting 2 weeks before we do it.
No, but I was just thinking that the 100th episode's coming exactly the right time. because the NBA's over, the NHL's over, so it's like perfect time to like get in this 100th episode, which we're not going to actually talk about anything like that's going on in the world of sports. It's going to be more of like a retrospective of the past 100 episodes. Okay, so I guess I'll see you this coming Saturday, and we'll do episode 100.
Yeah.
All right, talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
The Skip and Josh podcast is over now. Don't worry, there'll be another episode soon.